Good morning, people. New week, new nonsense in the press. As you can all see, we're still here. I have been monitoring the YouTube a channel to see if we get any notifications from YouTube, but so far nothing. And of course, the threat of sending the police to the door. Well, if they're going to show up, it'll be this morning. So David thought he would get dressed appropriately. Okay. Just so that there's no mistake made when I open the door, which will be quite fun if it happens. But anyway, I doubt it will happen. Right, let's get this underway because I don't have to waste time waiting for Facebook. Okay, so it's Andy Truck Davy booked the truck and at home in his office in Salisbury, North Lanarkshire, where it is dry at the moment, overcast, 18 degrees, rain forecast for this afternoon. High here will be 20 degrees, and as I say, the pollen count is high. All right. So there's rain in the forecast. There's thunder. There's a yellow thunder alert out across the region, and as I say, it's dry at the moment. Overcast, pollen counts high. Usual summer in Scotland. The rain's warm. There you go. Okay, let's have a wee look. See who's in. Good morning, Margaret. Two Margarets. Margaret Brand, Margaret Mackay. Good morning, Stephen. Morning, Ian Matheson. Good morning, Reagan Elite, folks. Tune into Reagan Elite's channel. It's brilliant. Good morning, Thomas Hanlon. Good morning, Luke Indy. Good morning, Melanie, our Swedish correspondent. Now, let's scroll up, see who else is in. I seen the other day he was in. See Ange was in. Hi, Eddie. I won't scroll up here, bugger. Ah, well, it's no point. Anyway, good morning, everybody that's in. Hi, Lukeson, Hootsman, Stevie Bank here, Thomas. Good morning, Thomas. I was in your neck of the woods yesterday. So it was. Okay, numbers are climbing excellently well today, so let's get this broadcast underway, shall we? Well, we'll try. That's better. Good morning, Anne. How are you, my friend? Harry? Right, first up this morning, we have the Herald, if we can find it. Other end of the park, by the looks of it. Well, obviously not the other end of the park, David. Alright, because before I put it up, I did. There it's there, in the middle of the park for some reason. Okay, this morning, the Herald has majority of firms back visa scheme for staff. Now, this article tells us that the majority of businesses in Scotland would like a Scotland-specific visa scheme run by the Scottish Government. That way, the Scottish Government can direct the labour that's being imported to Scottish-specific sectors, as well as all the other sectors here in Scotland. Now, it would probably be a good idea, but it ain't ever going to happen. So they can make as much noise as they want. The Scottish Government can demand the devolution of immigration. Westminster will not cede control of our population to us. Our population has been very, very carefully manipulated for the last 300 odd years to ensure that it has no more than doubled. They fear a full strength Scotland, so they ensure that you don't have a full strength Scotland. Now, if immigration here had grown at the same rate as immigration in England and Wales, which it should have done, well, England specifically, actually, Wales is under the same sort of self-control, so is Northern Ireland, central control. They don't want the provinces, the colonies getting big enough to turn on them. But if our population had rose at the same rate, there would now be 15 to 17 million of us. And that's a number they don't want to deal with. All right, so Scottish businessmen and the Scottish Government do need control of immigration, but they're not getting it, no matter how much they plead. So that was a Herald. And as sure as night follows day, the Scotsman follows the Herald. What's the Scotsman got for us this morning? Higher taxes on Scots firms still stifling growth, retailers warn. Higher taxes on Scottish firms stifling growth, retailers warn. As the Scottish Government isn't in charge of that many taxes, I wonder where these higher taxes are coming from. There's income tax, and we've got the landfill tax, and we've got a few other mineral taxes, and of course we've got property tax, but the rest is basically reserved. But they're claiming it costs 9 million more for a big retailer to run their business in Scotland what it does in England. You don't like it? You know where the fucking door is? Morrison's, Asda, Tesco, and anybody else that wants to complain about it. Off you pop. There will be Scottish entrepreneurs step up to the plate and fill the gap. That you can be sure of. Because prior to your arrival here, we had our own fucking supermarkets. We got Brace, with the Co-op, we had plenty. Can't mind the name of them all actually. But we had plenty. And as I say, they don't like paying taxes here. They can F off. We actually believe in paying our taxes here because we link them to public services. Shite public services mean you're not taxing properly. I never said no tax enough. I said no taxing properly. A fine example is the income tax scheme down that road. Right, let's move on. The Rancid Rancid's got a crime story for us this morning. Now, apparently, some guy who's been abusing his wife is up for parole, and his wife's pleading with the judges not to let him out. So what does it say? Abused wife hits out. I fear ex will come for me. Terrified Eve urges judges to snub jail tormentors freedom bid. Jail tormentors freedom bid. If the guy spent the appropriate period of his time behind bars and he's behaved himself and he's complied with whatever rehabilitation measures that were there, then there's not very much that can be done to stop him being released if he complies and makes all the parole thresholds. As for his ex-wife's fears, they will well be justified. She's just going to have to believe or hope that the penal system has been able to teach this man the errors of his way. Okay, let's move on. Now, this one, folks, is going to blow your fucking head off. Right? It's going to blow your head off. I'll put this one up. The Daily Fail. Oof. And it's the right name for this rag today. SNP 20 million spending spree to promote diversity. A 20 million spending spree to promote diversity. Think of the very wording of that. How very right wing. How very Trumpian. How very Farage-ish is that? Diversity, equality and inclusivity in the workplace and in civil life is very, very important. But when we get to the next rag, that number's quite significant. Spending spree. Keep the words in mind, folks. Spending spree. A spending spree to make sure that everybody can equally and inclusively take part in the labour market or in life. They need to get their fucking head wobbled. Anyway, let's get into that mad rag and bring up the real knuckle dragger's rag. The one that our Mr. Anderson would probably read. Next up, the Express. Oh, hold on, I need to deal with that first. Right, where are we? Next up, the Express. Same sort of story. As you can see, headline, anger over bill for diversity rules. Now, what they're trying to say is these diversity jobs within public services are a waste of money. But diversity, equality and inclusivity in civic life and in the workforce is bloody important, and we take it seriously here. But folks, spending spree and squandering, that's our 5-year period. Last year alone, Westminster spent 27 million on DEI, as they're calling it, diversity, equality, inclusivity policies in their public sector. Now, in our public sector, it's our 5 years. Our 5 years, our councils, all 32 of them, spent 2.5 million on DEI roles. 2.5 million over 5 years, folks. Less than 500,000 a year between 32 of them. This stuff is fucking nonsense. Our NHS, our 5 years, have spent 8.9 million on diversity, inclusivity. Diversity, equality, and inclusivity within their workforce. A workforce of, I think it's 17 or 18,000. No lot of money. But as I say, this number's our 5 years. 5 years for 2019 till now. Almost 6 years, actually. That is 6 years, sorry. We're talking April, you hear me? 6 years. So our 6 years have spent 20 million quid. Right across all the public sector. All the public sector. That'll be in Scottish Water. That'll be in Police Scotland. That'll be in Ambulance Scotland. That'll be in Fire and Rescue. That'll be the councils, which will cover education, social work, and all that sort of thing. NHS, what a white berth of things that are there. So 20 million. All these public sectors spend in our 5 years. That's no bad. We take it seriously here. Real seriously. And that's why we don't have as bad a case of institutional racism in our public sectors here as what we've got in study after study after study at Westminster. Another reason why we don't have any such problems with immigration and we won't brook this fucking nonsense is because the people who come here do integrate. We didn't ghettoise them. Who's the legend this morning? Hello? Hello? We'll just block that number. Right, morning Sir Larry the Cat. Let's move on, shall we? So squandering of 20 million on woke SNP jobs, my arse. Diversity, equality and inclusivity in civic society and in the jobs market, in the education sector, in the health sector, in the public sector and in, as I say, civil society is very important. And it ensures that we can all get on well. This nonsense is fucking nonsense. Folks, you all have a search engine. Just type in how much did Westminster spend on DEI last fiscal year. And I'll tell you 27 million because I looked it up. That's in 1 year. We've spent less than that in 5. And yet we have better public services, we have better social inclusion. And we don't have race riots. What they've got down in Epping this weekend, where they're protesting with flares and glass bottles an asylum seekers centre, which used to be a hotel, I believe. Unbelievable. But I mean, imagine bringing this fucking Nigel Farage and Trump shit to our shores. These two rags need fucking tooting to task over this. And then our politicians, our First Minister needs to stand up with that in our Parliament, hold them up and call these fucking rags out. We don't need your right-wing fucking racist nonsense, thank you. Or your right-wing sexist nonsense, thank you. Or your pro-life American nonsense, thank you. We rant for you folks. But these rags make me sick. These are an infection in our population. And the editors need taken to fucking court and jailed for inciting riots, inciting problems, inciting division in public life. Because that's exactly what they're doing. That's what they're doing with their anti-trans stuff. That's what they're doing with this nonsense. And this word fucking woke. I'm glad to be fucking what we call woke. That means I'm well aware of what's going on. Being awake to what's going on. That's what fucking woke means. It means we're all perfectly aware of what's going on. So if you're proud to be perfectly aware of what's going on, write in the comments, I'm woke. Because I am. I'm perfectly aware of what these right-wing rags are trying to do in our society. Sow dissent. Sow division. And they need taken to task. They need taken to task. They can leave that Farage and Trump shite at the border, thank you very much. Talking about borders, I was in Thomas's neck of the woods yesterday. I was out getting a gift for my wife's work colleague. It's her birthday today. So I was in Motherwell to pick up a specific perfume that Sarah wanted me to get. And I'm standing waiting at the cash point machine. There's 2 cash point machines for the Bank of Scotland, halfway down the precinct. I'm standing in a queue, 2 in front of me. Right next door, 2 people standing in a row, and lassie and her, I think it was her aunt or her mother, because twice their age anyway, were at the cash point machine. And her mother's staring at my t-shirt. Now, I had on the t-shirt that says, how can I be a traitor when England is foreign to me? And I could see this woman getting fucking steam growing up in her ears. I said, she's going to say something. And I've got an audience, so I'm fucking playing. I know what's happening here. She's staring right at my chest. Anyway, her daughter gets the money and they step away from the machine. And she turns to me and she says, how can England be foreign to you? We're in the UK. I says, hen, I don't normally give geography lessons outside the classroom. But you know, borders are demarcation lines where one nation ends and another nation starts, or where one country ends and another state starts. I says, the border defines that. I says, the reason why we have borders is everything this side of the border is common to me. It's my land. Everything the other side of the border is foreign to me. It's their land. I says, and that's where the term foreign to me comes from. It's no my land. It's their land. It's foreign. So how could I be a traitor if their land is foreign to me? Do you get the concept of a border now? Be woman was fucking flabbergasted. Everybody's doing a bit with pissing herself laughing. But I've been known to do that. Did it with Big Michael up in Forest as well when we were at the bakery. And Michael gets his gear, the big Polish boy, gets his gear, goes back to his truck. And the boy in front of me, military boy from England, says to the lassie who's serving, bloody foreigners get everywhere, don't you? Don't they? And I tapped him on the shoulder and said, you did, didn't you? Letting him be sure that he's fucking a foreigner and all. I've been on to do that. But this idea that they're going to bring this nonsense up this road, these papers need sorted. And by the way, I'm proud to be woke. I'm proud to be aware of what's happening. I'm proud to be aware that we have been run by fascist dictators. Another 100 people arrested for anti-genocide protests at the weekend. What they are framing is pro-Palestinian. It's no pro-Palestinian. It's anti-genocide. But they need to make it sound as if the people who are doing that reasonable protesting are unreasonable people. Because the arms trade and the money that the UK makes for the arms trade is much more important than the lives of the children in fucking Palestine. I say these rags need taken to task. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Next up this morning we have the Times. Let's put the Times up. Let's see what nonsense this has got for us today. Right, Afghan killed by Taliban because brother was on leaked list. We're going to hear a lot of this, folks. And as the other Davies says, did they deliberately let this thing out so that they could cut back the amount of people they were going to have to import? After all, they've been all talking about shutting the borders. Did they let this list out so that we're going to have to bring in that 100,000 people from Afghanistan? Bear in mind, we've got 18.5 million of them here already. Where's this list released to cut back the numbers that we're going to make it to these shores? I think Mr. Milligan might have been onto something there. Anyway, SNP delay applying sex ruling until after election. That's the other byline. I wouldn't fucking apply it at all. If I was the First Minister of Scotland and people were asking me when I was going to apply the ruling for the Supreme Court, I said I'm not applying it at all because it's the ruling of a court in a separate land, a foreign land, 475 miles away. They can fuck off. You know, that would be my answer. And of course, the main headline, folks, Reeves set to defy left over call for wealth tax. Of course he fucking is. She's a Tory. Of course he is. Of course he's going to defy the left. Inequality is what these people fucking thrive on. Remember, folks, the real illness in this society is wealth inequality. Is the take, and the bottom in the middle gets squeezed. If you don't know how this works, folks, the wealthy take their passive income and they buy more assets. That means there's less assets available to us. And when there's less assets available to us, the ones that are available to us are at a premium fucking cost. Now, the wealthy are taking that much, they're about to collapse the whole of fucking society. But they don't care because they've got the boat holes they're onto. Fucking red Tory to deny left. I'm no surprised. Right, and just like the Scotsman and the Herald, or the Herald and the Scotsman, as sure as night follows day, the Telegraph follows the Times. Oh, here we go. Thanks, Anna. I'll put that up in a minute. The Daily Telegraph, Farage, I'll build more jails to clean up the streets. Now, when I seen that this morning, folks, you know, Farage, I'll build more jails to clean up the streets. You know what popped into my head? Says, no one of the 12 councils down there they run fucking are failing. He doesn't realise there's no jails you need to clean the streets, there's fucking refuge collectors. And they're trying to think this man could run a country. He doesn't know the difference between a criminal and a refuge collector. Oh, sorry, a static building and a refuge collector. Build jails to clean up the streets. Wow, no wonder the 12 councils they now run are failing. And they went in to save money, they said. That 18-year-old mayor they've got down that road, he's spending 200,000 on political advisors. Because he's 18. He hasn't got a fucking clue. The word politics is a word to him, he doesn't even know what it means. Nothing to do with the fact he's 18, it's got to do with the fact that he's in reform. Because, let's face it, that's where the dullest light bulbs in the shop are kept. In the reform cupboard. Thanks, Anne. You're a star. Unbelievable. Farage build jails to clean streets. You don't fucking build jails to clean streets. You hire refuge collectors, you fucking muppet. Oofed. Oh. And the people in England think he'd be the right guy to run the country. Well, they'll pick fucking Bojo, Starmer. I wouldn't be surprised if they pick this fucking clown. A man that doesn't know that you need refuge collectors to clean streets. But he wants static buildings to do it. You could not. The mind fucking boggles. And I mean the mind boggles. Build jails to clean the streets. Oh, read it and weep. Read it and weep. Right, next up with The Guardian. What's that go? Revealed 27 billion bill for failings in England's mother and baby care. So they've fucked it up that badly that it's going to take exactly half the Scottish budget to run the whole country to fix their maternity care. Think about that, folks. The Scottish Block grants about 54 billion before you add on specifics for their extra spending. And it takes half that, or it's going to take half that, to fix their maternity care. Thankfully. And think about it, we run the whole country twice that number. The whole country, every public service, every public building, everything on 54 billion. And that includes paying money back to Westminster to mitigate things like the bedroom tax and the 2-child cap. You couldn't make that up. That's how badly their services are failing, and they talk about ours. They have the audacity to talk about ours. It's going to take half the Scottish annual budget to fix their maternity care. The mind boggles. Absolutely boggles. Think about that, people here in Scotland, and if you're watching from outside Scotland, we run the whole country, have better public services, clean water courses, better education, better health, better outcomes, higher medium wage, and we're getting 54 billion plus add-ons for extra spending in England. And yet, it's going to take half our budget to fix your maternity care. Wolf, get your head wrapped around that. Come on in, Charlie, up you go. Come on. Oh, I don't get another legend. Sorry, I don't need Camden, but come on down. You just lie there and keep Daddy calm. Hi, can I help you?
Hi, David.
Hello, who's this?
Hi, it's John Richards calling from Solar Incentives. We understand you may be interested in solar panels and have a couple of questions. Can I just check? I'm John Richards, a human voice representative.
No, you're all right, mate. I'm sorted, thank you. Somebody tried to sell me solar panels. That's what happens when you look into these things. You then start getting annoyed by people trying to sell you them. Okay, so where were we? No, apart from getting beaten by Charlie Cat. Another fucking legend. That's another one blocked. Right. So, 27 billion to fix maternity down that road. People should be in jail for that. The last 3, 4, 5 health sectors should be in the jail for that. It's alright, Charlie Cat. It's alright. Alright. No, you're not playing with my one. I quite like it the way it is. Thanks very much. Right, that was The Guardian. Next up we have The Scum, and as you know we don't put that up. And it's got Pals Rally Around, Fears over Gaza's dash to A&E. Folks, I'd like to say I've got sympathy with this guy. He had the best start in life. Well, not the best start in life, but he had one of the better life outcomes, and the terrible affliction that is alcohol addiction, and any form of addiction is bad. Alcohol addiction has got this guy. But this guy's had the best of help and support, and he hasn't been able to turn that around. So I'm afraid I'm not really sympathetic to his cause, because he has the best, but I understand that the addiction that he's got is a terrible, terrible addiction. A terrible addiction. I mean, I like to drink myself, but this guy's got it bad. Right, that's enough time spent on The Scum. Let's move on to the National. What's the National vote for us today? Answers over Israel meetings are needed. Greens call for Scottish Government to give clarity after the National and the Ferret revealed details of meetings between the Scottish Government and Israeli representatives. Well, folks, if you like to play in the big boys' playground and you want to influence others, you have to speak to them. But really, the main reason why we have to speak to them is they've got arms companies fucking here. But do I agree that we should be talking to them? No. Do you understand that if we're going to be a grown-up nation, we have to continue with the diplomacy to try and influence other nations? Yes, I do understand that part. Anybody who doesn't understand that part shouldn't comment on that particular headline. Scotland is part of the world, even if Westminster normally deals with the world for us. Scotland is part of the world, and more Scotland is going to deal with outside forces. I can assure you, John's not in the mood for meeting fucking Trump, but he's going to have to. And I'm sure that when it came to the Israeli consulate, or the Israeli ambassador, or whoever it was that the Scottish Government are having to deal with, I'm sure they find it in very bad taste that they have to continue with the diplomacy. But if you want to play in a big boys playground, you have to play by the big boys rules. I might not like them, you might not like them, but we have to understand they're there. And that's why we have diplomats. They're the absolute specialists in swallowing turd-flavoured honey cakes and smiling across the table at people they don't fucking like. That's their job. That's what a diplomatic service is there to do. Okay, deal with all nations, whether we like them or no. But yep, contents of meetings. We do need to know the contents of meetings. We do. We need to know what the content of the meetings were. And I'm sure a freedom of information request will bring it to the fore, because there will have been civil servants sitting in on these meetings. And you can bet your boots they were hanging around whatever Scottish Government representatives there was back, because let's face it, the diplomatic service don't represent us. They're spies when they're with our ministers for the central government. Just so you know, so you're aware of it. That when the Scottish ministers go to meet other nations and other nations' representatives, there's always a member of the British Civil Service with them, taking notes for Westminster. Okay, so much for partner in union and being a trusted partner in the union, eh? Where ministers can't even go and talk to our fucking neighbours without having names sitting in our back pocket. Charming. Right, we have the I, so let's put the I up. State pension age could raise again due to mounting cost of triple whop. Mounting cost of triple whop, my arse. The state pension's a disgrace. It is a bloody disgrace. And the idea of work till you're dead, well, you know, that's a pretty fascist idea. And we live in fascist Britain. State pension needs to go up again. I can't retire, I'm 67. I don't imagine I'll have that much life the other fucking side of it. Wow. But it's no surprise headline, folks. That isn't it? Interesting one, that I was born in 1967, and I'm going to retire at 67. Well, if I decide to retire. Right. So that's a state pension. Might be getting up. Now, what's the Metro go for us? Well, Metro's actually a good news story for Scotland this morning. And I'm quite happy to talk about this one, actually. And this has to do with a PhD student at Herald University. Don't get me wrong, she's a doctor qualified. And she has designed an AI tool to help fight skin cancer, or to diagnose skin cancer. Now, she's invented a wee handheld device, cheap computer, with all the images worldwide that are available of skin cancers and types of skin cancers, and she's got it on this wee thing. And what you do is, you take a picture of the area of skin that's affected, send the information to the wee handheld device, and it goes through all the information it stores on skin cancer, and will identify it if it's there in the photograph that's been supplied to it. Now, this PhD student's name is Tess Watt, which is really quite cool, because she's studying at Herald University. That's pretty cool. But the idea is this will help people in rural areas, because this wee device is invented, the wee handheld computer, apparently only costs buttons. So, if you live in a rural area and you've got a worry about skin infection, you jump onto wherever these things are sold, order yourself one, get a picture, hook up with this machine, which has got all the specifics of skin cancers in it, and hey presto, it will tell you. Then you can hightail it out of your rural location to a hub where medical facilities are available. Absolutely brilliant invention, and once again Scotland at the forefront of medical science. But human sciences, medical sciences, Scotland's always been at the front of them, folks. Always. But I'm sure we're all aware of that. People outside Scotland, if they're not aware of that, Google it. Scotland has always been at the forefront of engineering, innovation, and medical science and human sciences. Always have been. Okie dokie. Right, that leaves, Christ, this has run well over. That leaves just the star. Let's see what the star's got for us this morning. Well, it would appear that the bill for NHS England is going to go through the fucking roof, because great news for most fans. Footy now prescribed on the NHS. Docs say watching matches ease depression. Oh dear. So we're going to evacuate people in NHS England, all getting prescribed a season ticket because they've got depression. Yeah, that's going to be dear. Now, as for football, easing depression. Oh, thank you. But you can just see it, can't you? All the yobs that can't afford the season ticket for all these big Premier clubs, all dropping off down the doctor to declare that they're depressed. Brilliant. And that's why you don't watch football anywhere regularly. So, a boost to the football clubs' coffers, and a bill for the NHS if they're going to start prescribing fighting tickets. And as for easing depression, that depends on the football team you're following, doesn't it? If they're being successful, you're not depressed. If they're on a bad run, a consistent bad run, then you're a wee bit depressed. Anyway, that's it for the day, folks. Well, that's it until this afternoon, folks. David and I will be here this afternoon to talk about some of the mad stuff that's been going on over the weekend. And it's not good as the clampdown on protest continues down that road, and the genocide continues. 100 arrested over the weekend for anti-genocide protests in England, and over 100 killed yesterday in Gaza, queuing up in the shooting galleries to get aid. Tut, tut, tut. See you all this afternoon. Bye, 4 o'clock. Don't be late. Bye for now.